centres nationwide. Police say call centres will operate normally. Workers will be taking to the streets this morning to demand better wages. Last month, staff marched to the office of the police minister over the issue. The workers say they want to be paid the same as others who work at government call centres. 3 South African groups want access to the information forming the probe into Bell Pottinger's inappropriate conduct. This is in relation to the work the UK-based PR firm did for the Gupta family-owned Oak Bay. The Helen Suzman Foundation, Section 27 and Save SA have made the request to Bell Pottinger. They want to make recommendations to the relevant UK regulatory bodies to help them understand the implications of the firm's conduct. Bell Pottinger's appointed law firm Herbert Smith Freehills to probe the Oak Bay saga. It'll appear before a British regulatory body on the 18th of August after the DA laid a complaint. Bell Pottinger's apologised for the inappropriate and offensive social media campaign done on behalf of Oak Bay. Well, President Jacob Zuma has more in common with P.W. Botha than Nelson Mandela. That's the view of Black Leadership South Africa CEO Bonang Mohale. He discussed state capture and how best to reclaim the country at a conference in Johannesburg. ANC MP Makosi Khoza was also present and called on Zuma to step down.
These delegates represent around 130 organizations. They are talking state capture and its impact on South Africans. There have been repeated calls here for President Jacob Zuma's resignation. ANC MP Dr. Makosi Khoza has come under fire for publicly stating it's time for change.
I am here to defend the ANC mission and not a dishonorable and disgraceful leader.
Others say Zuma has nothing common with former leader Nelson Mandela.
I remain personally fascinated by how much the current president, Jacob Gedleyihlekisa Zuma, has in common with P.W. Botha, more than he has in common with Rolihlahla, Nelson Mandela and F.W. de Klerk. That both of them come from rural areas, uneducated, therefore no tertiary education, therefore no ability to understand how South Africa tessellates like a jigsaw puzzle within a rapidly changing global agenda.
And once again, there are calls for action against state capture.
The Guptas are only a small piece of that picture. So we mustn't think that dealing with the Guptas alone is going to end the story of state capture. We need to deal with state capture in its totality.
The conference has agreed to mobilize against state capture and educate South Africans about its impact. There's also a campaign in the pipelines to pressurize MPs to support the motion of no confidence in President Zuma. Malungi Lupui, Johannesburg.
The battle for local councillor positions is fueling political violence in KwaZulu-Natal. This is the view of seasoned academic Professor Paulo Zulu in his testimony to the Morane Commission. Zulu says South African councillors are extremely well paid compared to other countries, making it a sought-after position which needs no qualifications.
Professor Paulo Zulu has written extensively on elections, political violence and hostels. He's been called to testify before the Morane Commission of Inquiry, which is probing political murders in KwaZulu-Natal. Zulu says the numerous councillor positions available are creating a dangerously competitive environment. This is why violence is more prevalent on the ground.
It's the all or none law that really operates here. I either have the job or I do not have a job at all. Yes. So the losses are very high. Given that, then this competition, heavy competition for scarce resources or scarce jobs, the absence of qualifications, a culture of resolving competition in violence, then you have a perfect recipe.
He suggests a change to the electoral system, forcing candidates to have basic qualifications at the very least. This, Zulu feels, would change the status quo.
One needs only either to be a political activist or to be connected to the political elite. There are no qualifications. So the stakes are much higher. A number of councillors would probably not be employed anywhere other than as laborers or as ordinary factory workers. And the salary of a councillor is quite high.
The commission also heard from the House of Traditional Leaders. Nkosi Phathisizwe Xolisa, in his testimony, called for more legislative powers to be given to Amakhosi. He feels this would make citizens more accountable and morally conscious. The hearings continue on Wednesday. Desan Tathia, Durban.
Well, this story is what we're asking you about this morning. We want to know from you what qualifications you think our councillors actually need to have. You can post those thoughts on our Facebook page. Tweet me at Juveka Aro at ENCA, and we'll share some of those a little later on this morning. Still to come on Morning News today, a massive wildfire in California forces mass evacuations.
Quick question. Stuck with a flat battery? And dead phone too? Next time, stop in at Super Quick. Buy a Willard battery and get a power bank free.